For those of you who have been watching the series, you would have seen some of the Leadfoot Festival clips that have been put up so far. One of the guys racing, Andy Migrant, put us on to Rod Millen to see if we could have a chat. So we're heading back to the Leadfoot Ranch now to talk to Rod Millen.
I was brought up on a farm and my dad built us a go-kart, a very agricultural go-kart. You know, it had wheelbarrow wheels on it, you know, but on the farm it was simple and basic, and my brother and I had a lot of fun with that. So perhaps that was my first, you know, exposure into sort of going a little fast. I'm sure it wasn't very fast in those days, but it felt very fast. My dad would always take us to the Grand Prix each year, which was in Ardmore in those days, and we would watch the likes of Sterling Moss and so on. So that was, you know, as a childhood, that exposure existed. But you know, as I was growing up, we lived in the East Coast base after we moved off the farm, and surfing became something that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think a big piece of that was the balance of surfing, and a lot of those surf spots were gravel roads, metal roads to get out to those places. I suddenly started to realize I enjoyed traveling on those gravel roads, sliding the car around those roads, which is another form of balance. I perhaps found that was even more challenging than surfing, and perhaps more rewarding. So there was a combination of all those things, you know, that we all have as kids that we get exposed to, that perhaps help sort of set the course for your future. You know, racing in New Zealand, you get exposed to lots of different forms of racing, and you know, as you get successful, you learn what all those different forms of racing are around the world. So it's only natural that you want to pick up your race car and go to different places. You know, for any Kiwi, Australia is your first step, and we'd shipped the car to Australia and competed in the Southern Cross Rally a couple of times. And then we decided we'd go further afield and ship the car to England in 1977 and compete in the RAC rally and one of the other smaller rallies prior to that. And you know, you soon start understanding the world of motorsports. During the course of that and my association with Mazda in New Zealand, that they suggested I talk to the headquarters in Hiroshima, Japan, about future opportunities. So they suggested I seriously look at the United States, because they were launching a new sports car called the RX-7.
Experience the best-selling two-seat sports car in America. Experience the performance of the 1983 Mazda RX-7. Experience the stability of anti-sway bars front and rear. 0 to 50 in 6.3 seconds and efficient aerodynamics. RX-7, one of the world's great driving experiences.
I traveled there in 77 and eventually moved there in 78. I wasn't able to strike up a deal with Mazda then over there, but I spent a year there racing and got their attention, and Mazda in the US sponsored me for the next, I think 11 years, 12 years. You know, that became, you know, my life then in the States, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed how warmly the people accepted me and welcomed me to participate.
In a rough and tumble parallel reality, off-road truck racing, Team Toyota's 1992 triumph extended to total victory. At Anaheim, Rod Millen opened the season with a sweep of both heat races and the main event. A virtuoso driving performance achieved only once previously in the Stadium Series' 10-year history.
The trucks are great straight off from the first event. Now it's just up to us as the drivers, you know, to get the points and just keep accumulating the points for the championship.
Once I focused on my career, you know, was what do I need to do to be successful at this? So, you know, when you had people, you know, supporting you financially with your sport, you know, you need to make sure that you did all the right things. You know, it came to a point where it was one thing to be driving fast, but now there's all the other elements. Attending events, helping them develop new cars, or doing TV commercials or whatever. There was many elements, and I loved all of that. You know, we were doing prototype vehicles for different manufacturers and commercials, and it was the whole thing was all wrapped up together. So you know, it made for a wonderful lifestyle.
Hi, I've driven a lot of quick cars over the years, but a handful I'll always remember. This is one I could tell a mile off, the Mazda RX-3. Back in '73, I cut my teeth rallying the RX-3, and I went on to develop a four-wheel drive for another famous Mazda, the RX-7. Mazda's latest sensation is certain to join this lineup, the MX-5 sports car.
I think the rally stuff was what I enjoyed on that. There was a couple of things. A lot more seat time, a lot more of an adventure, going to places I'd never been before. And many of those roads, you know, it was the first time I'd been over there. So it was me understanding what all my reflexes, how I could handle the car, anticipate the corners and so on, and things like that. I found that was much more challenging than circuit racing. The piece about hill climbs I really enjoyed. There in a short distance, you were competing against the stopwatch. And so now you could critique yourself on each run based on your driving style, whether that style was faster than the previous run. So you could always sort of be quite honest and let the stopwatch tell you the fastest way to drive up a road. I think it was more about challenging myself, and that's what I thoroughly enjoyed. You'd sort of, you know, in your head, there's one thing you thought, oh, I think that's the fastest way, but let me try something different. And you know, as I said, the stopwatch didn't lie. It always told you the quickest way to get up a course and all of that. I always wanted to have a great road to the house. We found this piece of property, and I set about building, you know, what I considered a really good road that would get to the house. We haven't built the house yet, but we've got the road in. And of course, along the way, we would attend the Leadfoot Festival of Speed. After doing that a couple of times, you know, I said, wow, this would be fabulous to have an event on a smaller scale in Goodwood like this in New Zealand. And we've got the property, and after selling the business, I've got the time to work on all that. I've really got nothing to prove anymore, so now it's just a matter of, to myself, you know, I want to run it as quickly and neat and tidy as I can, and personally that's rewarding more than anything. Could the car go faster? Absolutely. If I gave it to one of my kids and they got used to it, they'll go faster than I can. I have no doubt about that, because they'll perhaps take a few more risks. You know, that discipline of when to go fast is still there, and you know, those are perhaps some of the memories of my years of my successful racing career that comes back to me. But now it's creating the property and the event. Just a whole new challenge. I've never done that before, you know, so I want to be good at that as well. I don't know why that is, but that's been my DNA for all my life. It's just, let's see if you can do your best effort, you know, so it still exists. It's an opportunity to spend some time with these people, invite them down here to be part of what we're doing, and share the property and the experience with them. If we hadn't have taken this road to build the property out and have the event, you know, we wouldn't have had a very good excuse to sort of hang out with the likes of the Scott Dixons or Tanner Faust or many of the others that have come here. Yeah, it's perhaps another part of the journey in our lives. You know, having been brought up on a farm and working with tractors and equipment and stuff like that, and then my civil engineering background, you know, I enjoy it all. You know, it's actually, I never pull the race cars out until the weekend of our event. They sit in the barn there, and you know, I sometimes get a little nervous how, you know, I got to charge up batteries and put fuel and all, and then go run them, because you know, 99% of my time is spent on trying to make the farm better, and I just thoroughly enjoy that. It's my exercise program as well. wonderful way to live out your life, you know, surrounded by your friends who have often been your competitors, and the young people coming up in motorsports, and you're trying to be, as Alan Wolf has been to me, you're trying to be a role model to other young people to say that, you know, this can be part of your life. You can enjoy this forever at all different levels. And it's not all about winning, it's just participating and being around, you know, the people that you enjoy, respect you, and yeah, it's many things.
So there we have it, Rod Millen's story. Basically for him, it's not just about going fast, it's about doing it better every time, whether that's with competition or now with Leadfoot Festival.